Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Young Leaders Podcast. I'm Adam Grattan. I'll be host for today for this episode as you join us from the chapel at YMCA North Staffs, where we're going to be talking about mental health and what is World Mental Health Day. First of all, though, I'm pleased to be joined by members of the youth governance team here at YMCA North Staffs. Dan, Angel, Dan, in no particular order there, you're sort of all sitting around. We've had a little last minute seating change. I'm going to get you all to introduce yourselves first. So, Angel.
Hi, I'm Angel Mason. I'm an IT apprentice and part of the Young Gov team as well. So.
Hi, I'm Dan. Dan Summerill. I work in the IT departments at the YMCA, and I'm also a part of the youth governance team.
Hi, I'm Dan Boon. I work in the marketing department here at YMCA and also part of the youth governance team.
So I certainly know who and where to come to if I need any sort of IT and promotional support anyway. So it's always good when you do these things, always doubles up well. Yep, so it's really good to have you tuning in again to us. And if you're first time listening to the Young Leaders Podcast, certainly go back and check out the previous 4 episodes when we've covered things from voting to homelessness and music and creativity. So moving on, it is, as I said, we're recording this on World Mental Health Day to a backdrop of the fact that 75% of young people's mental health problems are not getting met. They're not receiving simply the treatment they need. Given that fact, 75% of young people's mental health problems are going unchecked, untreated. Angel, why do you think, what do you think some of the reasons for that might well be?
Basically, I think mental health is not acknowledged enough in like the community and the world, basically, because when they try to go to see someone, they can't get to see a doctor or the NHS because they're either put on a waiting list or just turned away. So in the end, they won't be able to get the help they need because it's not acknowledged enough, and they need to speak up more.
And I mean, throw this over to yourself, Dan. Do you think there's something with, when it comes to young people and mental health, it is potentially not seen as as big an issue potentially as it is if somebody who's classed as a growing up working adult who's older? I mean, when we talk about young people, we're talking between 16 to 25 is YMCA's sort of demographic. So older than that, do you think it's not quite taken as seriously as the impacts that can be on young people?
I believe that it isn't taken as seriously as it should be, especially the young people. To now, we live in a generation where social media has very much surrounded our lives, which we have cyberbullies, and it's massive within educational system as well, where it can be pushed to a point where bullying becomes a serious issue, which then causes mental health issues for young people, and it's just not acknowledged enough whatsoever.
And Dan, for yourself, next Dan. You touched on them, there was bullying, the sort of thing, the advent and introduction of, certainly over probably the last 10 years, where it's ramped up even more as social media, digital age. From your own experiences or from, sort of the work you do here at YMCA, just what are your thoughts on the impacts that sort of the digital impact of can have on young people's mental health?
Yeah, like you said, when we start working in social media, I kind of see the trends and all the things that you need to be. And when young people growing up, they look at Kim Kardashian, for example, and just think, I have to be like her to be a certain way, or have a certain amount of friends, or fit in a certain clique. And I know when I grew up, it was, if you like football, you're all right, but now it's, you need the right eyebrows, or you need the right haircut, or you need the right shoes. And I think a lot of young people don't have the family don't have the finances to get them for the young people. When they don't, it affects them highly, and I know when I was young, if you didn't have the right shoes, you get picked on, and when you get picked on, it's like, well, why me? I need to change. And I think young people just need to realise that. Just be yourself. You don't need to be a certain way or look a certain way.
So you think, I think what we're getting from that really is, first of all, before we start to delve any deeper and discuss the matter further, it is this sort of superficial, sort of wanting, this wanting certain things, or the pressure to have certain, look a certain way, be a certain way, present yourself on social media, seems to be certainly one of the more modern impacts affecting mental health in young people, Angel.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, social media's become a big part of the world now. And
what have you had any own experiences of just, with that world of social media and how it affects, the mental health of younger people?
I used to be scared to post photos just in a t-shirt because I thought my arms were too scrawny or something. So I just didn't post as much unless it was with family or something.
So I suppose that then falls into, or is part of, the body confidence, this body shaming that it says, or we've heard about sort of fat shaming and potential issues and pitfalls when it comes to eating disorders. What are your thoughts on how that all fits into the impacts on the mental health of young people?
I think personally, it's the massive thing on dysmorphia. When people are having to go to the gym just to look a certain way, have the body form a certain way. It's the same for females also. They can struggle with it. And I think it raises a massive impact that people don't realise that it is a thing. It does really get you down in terms of mental health. And I think people need to be encouraged to, it's okay to not look a certain way. It can take time. You can, if you want to work on yourself, then sort of fall in love with yourself first. And
it's a really important point there, because there is, I've seen yourself, be in gyms, and there's people taking selfies and photos, and to potentially end up on Instagram or wherever it might be, and it has shown that potentially other people are thinking, oh, I've got to look that way, or that person's better than me because they look like this, or they're doing this, and people have got their lives together, and all that these small contained photos or instances on social media present to individuals or groups that then can lead to poor mental health, because people are feeling that they aren't hitting that level, and feeling they should be looking a certain way. I know you've each got some stories yourself you want to talk about. Dan, what's your history with how your own mental health has been impacted upon over the years?
The world mental health is a strange one, really, because when growing up, I never knew that I was going through stuff. Like the old generation, they just get on with it, and that's what I did. I just got on with it, and then when I got to a certain age, I realised I'm not right. My head's all over the place, and then with family problems, relationship problems, you go down the dark hole of, why am I here? What's the purpose of being here? And like Dan said earlier, you just need to. What I did. I tried to find myself, find what I love, and love myself. And I think that's the main important thing. If you try to tackle it head on, and actually sit down and think, what makes me happy? Like, after my last relationship, I was in a dark place. I didn't know what the next chapter was, and like we spoke earlier, it's your appearance that makes a massive difference. You think, oh, I'm ugly, I'm horrible, I'm weird looking, but then once you get yourself in the gym, or you look after yourself, and you start thinking, I'm a good looking lad, that's when the best place comes from. And me personally, I got into boxing. Like, I know I kept thinking I was ugly, but I thought boxing would be a better place to get better looking instead of being punched in the face a couple of times a week. But yeah, it helped. Like, I felt better in myself. I felt physically fit, and that's where my happiness came from. And then I stopped boxing, and then I fell down a bit of a rough patch. And then I thought again, like, what is this? And then I realised that not everyone is perfect. You have your own issues in life, and if you find something that you feel passionate about or you like doing, just go with that and make yourself happy instead of dwelling on the fact, oh, I am sad, I am going through issues, because only you can improve yourself, really.
Listening to what Dan just spoke about, his own experiences, because the world out there we've seen, we've just spoken about on social media, it's everybody's aiming towards a similar way of doing things. It's supposed to, it's like one size fits all. Seems like, from what Dan said, that certainly isn't the case, and it's about each person finding out, being true to themselves and finding out what makes them happy and what their life is about, and not following this one size fits all approach that you potentially see on social media and photos and on TV.
Yeah, I think the main thing is self-love. That's the main priority. I think that's where the centre of it is all. Personally, I think that was the way forward for myself. There was a part of me that I was completely blind by a lot of things that I struggled to talk about. I was totally discouraged from talking at all, just because of the stigma that's out there for men. You have to be strong, alpha, and try to get on with things. But for me, I know there was a reoccurring issue that kept happening, and there was something that I knew that was deep down what was wrong. So I referred myself to the Staffordshire Wellbeing Service. I had a little introduction with them. I spoke to them, and they sort of came along with the idea of CBT, which is cognitive behaviour therapy. I thought that was the right process for me, and it was perfect. I think it was a 6-week course of it. They give you resources, the methods to try to think about what you're thinking about, writing it down, which was a massive encouragement for me, because if you're an overthinker like myself, it's easy to write it down, look at the facts, and then you're able to pick out which is real or not, which massively helped for me.
To anybody listening out there, do you want just to that might be going through a similar thing, or could you sort of touch on what it was having to deal with and how you sort of realised that you needed to make a change?
So for me, it was the reoccurring issue really that kept happening. So I knew there was something wrong, so I had to take a step back, reevaluate everything, and then sort of work on the self-love that I knew from the start that I needed to do, because I didn't really like how I looked, the person I was, and that came a massive struggle for me. So I had to take a lot of time out, and I think time is the best thing that anyone can do. I know it's a struggle, but you take one thing at a time, and that's made me having a massive improvement within my mental health. And now I can sit here and encourage others to talk.
How do you feel that peer support and mentoring and help basically fits into tackling young people's mental health?
Well, basically, encouragement and will help bring up young people's self-esteem more, and then they'll feel like they can talk to the peers more. For one of my experiences, basically, I had low self-esteem growing up, and I always apologised for the stupidest reasons. And at the time, people told me, for like example, when I was in school, people telling me I was no good, I'm going to get nowhere in life, and I might as well just give up, basically. And that caused me to have really bad anxiety and thoughts in my head, repeating what they were saying. And I still get that today, to be honest. and that keeps me up at night sometimes. But I felt like I had to isolate myself and not speak out, basically. So I would encourage like young people to actually speak out and not get in like to the mindset I did.
With that anxiety and feeling like you had to isolate, just if you could just tell us a bit what that was like and how you came to sort of acknowledge that and sort of challenge it.
Basically, when I was around other people, I like put on like a fake smile, and like a mask type of thing to like pretending like I'm okay, but I wasn't really inside. So I just tried to act like I was okay, but then as I got older, I thought, hey, something's wrong here. So I just tried to like talk to people that I knew that wouldn't understand, and they tried to help push me in the right direction. Like if I get anxiety attack by mistake, I get like in this like breathing heavy and I can't like physically breathe basically, and basically I'm in tears. But someone's all like, for example, my mum's always like encouraged me like, it's gonna be okay and stuff. You'll be alright.
Where did the help come from? You said your mum.
Yeah.
And it was mostly from family, or was it friends, or was it a certain groups you were involved with?
I never talked to my friends about the way I was feeling and growing up and stuff. Really, my mum was my emotional support system. She like brought me out of it and stuff, and encouraged me to like be more confident and stuff. Like I still have these are still going on my head, like the bad thoughts and stuff. Like sometimes I don't get any sleep at night because of it. And the next day I go talk to mum and she like encouraged me. It makes me feel just a bit better in myself, and I can now. If when I was younger I wouldn't have the confidence to come out and talk like on a podcast or anything, because I'll be too timid and stuff. But now I think I'm taking the right steps in the right direction, and I would encourage the young people to do the same.
What would you say to a young person who might be going through what you have and are going through to support them? What would be any words of advice, encouragement?
Basically, speak to someone you trust and know they won't take the piss with you. Just speak to someone you absolutely trust, and just spill out everything out, and hopefully they'll be able to help you like my mother helped me.
We spoke about social media. We spoke about all these seemingly the more modern impacts, but they're still based on a social interaction. From your knowledge and from the community you work with, it's the YMCA. What have you seen are some of the issues that do affect the mental health and happiness of young people?
I think one of the main issues they go through is the next chapter in life, like what they're going to do. They leave school, then leave college, then they're expected to be the next Prime Minister or know exactly what they want to do. And when I left school, I had no clue. I thought I wanted to be a buzzman or something, or just something random. But I think for me personally, I left school, went to be a paint decorator, hated the job. And if they're listening, I'm sorry, but I hated it. And then I took some time out, and I always had a passion for video editing and just being creative with anything really. And then that's what I found, and then that's the career path I wanted to go down. So obviously I was lucky enough to have an apprentice here at the YMCA, and then it spiraled into the position I am now. But the advice I give to young people is ignore the stigma of you need to have an idea of what you want to be at year 10 or 15 years old, because no one on earth knows what they want to do. Like I said, the advice I give to any young people who are going through that stage in their life, just relax. You find your passion.
The pressures of when you're at school, thinking back and how things are now, what impact do you think that has on young people's mental health?
Like with teachers, all they care about is like getting you through exams. Like when I was at school, they told me exams are all that matter. Like if I don't get my exams, I won't get anywhere in life, and that really stressed me out. And I tried to get them, but I failed majorly. There is life after exams.
Education can bring lots of really positive life-based things to help futures, but there is certainly that if you don't get these exact grades that are expected, then you haven't achieved a certain level of of standing, and that can certainly impact on how we all view ourselves.
So personally, like school for me, it was a struggle, academically especially. But there's for the people out there who are worrying about grades and getting a certain job role within life, there's always time. There's always time to go back and redo things. But for me, I've left school now for 6 years, and I've only just passed my maths now, and I feel great for it. And I know now, because of our life experience, and I've got a lot more confidence in myself. I know now I can go forward and redo things. It's just, don't put any pressure on yourself, and just jump in when you're ready. It's just experience. Them grades for after school, when you finish year 11 year, it's just experience really, and you can jump back on it in life again. So don't worry about it.
And I think that's an important message, really. That if you get your grades at school and you do the things you want to do, that's great. It's brilliant. And certainly it's got to be encouraging for each person who does that. But it is the fact that you can still do things after that. Finishing is at year 11, and it's a bit longer since I finished school than it is yourself, Dan. So I have to think back. But it still stands true that if you don't get these triple stars or whatever they might be now, you can still go and do your maths, or you can go do your geography or your history if that's what you want to do. But you might not. You might want to just go and take another path. What would you like to see by local authorities and by businesses and in Stoke-on-Trent and North Staffordshire to support young people's mental health?
Basically, maybe put something in place for young people with mental health, so they can feel like they can talk to their employers and where they are, to help them, so they can speak to somebody other than someone they're close to. Like if they're at work, they don't have to, if they're feeling down at work, they should be able to go speak to the manager or the supervisor, and they should hopefully be able to give them advice. So I believe they should put something in place.
Dan, you spoke earlier about some of the things put in place, so the community meals and the pantry going on. What other things have you got coming up over the next month? I know there are some things you spoke about before we came on air to record this episode. Do you want to just talk us through about some of the community-based things that will hopefully go in some ways supporting the mental health of young people over the course of 2023 and beyond?
Yeah, so in COVID, we noticed that a lot of families were struggling to give a Christmas to the children that they deserve, really. And we thought that we'd give back to the community by raising £5,000 to make 500 Christmas hampers to send to families across Stoke-on-Trent and North Staffordshire. It was a way of supporting families, because if you can't afford to give your child presents, it brings you down. Like, I know I've gone through that myself, where my family can't afford a Christmas, and I see it in their eyes, like it does affect them, but for the YMCA to do something about it, it makes a massive difference. So if you wouldn't mind donating to the Christmas hamper appeal, that'd be brilliant.
How, if anybody does want to, how do they do that?
Yeah, if you visit our website at No, it's not that.
This was a time to hit it home, this was.
www.ymca.ns.org.uk.
There you go. If you want to donate, that's where to go to, www.ymcaNS.org.uk. Fantastic. Well, with that, I think it's about as good place to draw it to a close as any. I really want to thank today
Angel Mason.
Daniel Summerill.
And Dan Boon.
Fantastic. I've been Adam Grattan here on the Young Leaders podcast at the YMCA North Staffs. It's been really great to be here with you on World Mental Health Day. If you want to find out any more about the work that goes on here at YMCA North Staffs, you can go along to www.ymcans.org.uk. And if you are dealing with your own mental health impacts and looking for support, or indeed looking as a way to support others, you can go along to www.nsmind.org.uk, which is North Staff's Mind. There is the Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Wellbeing Service, and you can contact the NHS Urgent Health Support helpline on 0800 03 28 728, pressing option 1. Certainly hope you've enjoyed listening to today's episode, and it's been useful hearing the thoughts of Angel, Dan and Dan. It's been great having you with us. Join us next time when we'll be back for more from the youth governance team here on the Young Leaders podcast. Thanks for coming along today, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. Goodbye.